Mrs. Folasade Adefisayo, the CEO of Leading Learning Limited, and also the immediate Commissioner for Education in Lagos State. And give her a round of applause first. We are honored and privileged to have her here, and I would just get my daughter to write, just the way I've been scribbling all day. Ma'am, please, can you take the floor?
Good morning. It's good to be with all of you. I'm dressed in an uncharacteristic manner because I'm going from here somewhere. I'm going from here to another event, and that's a glittering, it said glitter in Ankara. So I said, oh my God, I can't change again. So it's good to be in your midst. Good to see all of you, and thank you for your very kind words. The very sweet lady who introduced me. Thank you. I'm always afraid of private schools now because I always think I'm enemy number one. But you know, you have to do what you have to do sometimes. You have to take some hard decisions. I think that's part of leadership, in that it's a pity that so-and-so's ox is God, but sometimes you have to take that as well, especially because we can't afford to look at things from just one perspective. So sometimes I'm nervous when they tell me to come, but I still come anyway, because it's all part of leadership, isn't it, that even when you are afraid, you move. So it's good to be here. So let me start off by asking who I am talking to. I want to know you too. You remember that exercise on the maths class? I almost said maybe I should write a little bit about myself too. So then get you all to write a little bit about yourselves. But tell me about yourselves. I'm veteran. He's veteran, 1V.
Hello.
Good to see you, Mr. Kwesa. So let's start with school owners. Any school owners in the house? Good. Thank you very much. Any school leaders, headmistress, principal, head of one section or the other in the house? Very good. Classroom teachers, any in the house? Come on. Yeah. Then who else is? If you are not any of these three, please tell me what you are, so that I'll know who I'm talking to. Anyway, good to see you all. That's my name, Folasade Adefisayo. And like I said, I'm glad to be here. I wasn't able to sit down. I normally prepare my presentations myself. So I didn't sleep till 4 this morning. And I woke up late, so that's why I came in late. Actually, because my dog was disturbing me. Most Nigerians don't understand, but when you're a dog lover, you understand that an 11-year-old dog is an elderly dog. In human terms, it's probably about 80. And so he's very spoiled now and wants to sleep inside the house. And we don't want him to sleep inside the house. We want him to sleep where he normally sleeps, in his own house. So we spend the night struggling, because when I go to bed, I hear him screaming, and the whole neighborhood there said they throw poison to this dog. So I'll get up again. So I didn't sleep. It's like having a newborn babe. And if you have an elderly parent, my mother is still around, she's 92. So I know how to look after elderly people. So I could look after the dog as well. So it's been quite a day. So we're talking about outstanding schools and shaping learners' experience so that they come out of it globally competitive. I worry a lot about what is happening in Nigeria, but and I'm going to ensure that we make this as engaging as possible. I don't want to do all the talking. First of all, don't forget I've been out of school for like 4 or 5 years now. So I'm not as sharp as I used to be. I'm sharp in another way. Now I understand public schools. But I'm starting to lose my sharp edge with the private schools. But because I've worked in both now. And I did work in Oshogbo. I ran a public senior secondary school in Oshogbo for like 1.5 years. Children are children. They all have the same needs and wants. They want to do well. They are just limited sometimes by their parents' economic means. And that's why, as a human being, my focus has always been, how do we give every child an opportunity to do well? It's important. Because if you just concentrate on your own children, I can't wait. My children are grown. They've all finished. They've done well. I'm comfortable. I don't do many things there again. A child says she needs anything, I don't send money. I just say, Pele. Yeah. You know, I don't have to support them financially anymore. But I cannot have my own children do well and not have other children do well. They are meeting in the marketplace, aren't they? And there'll be a breakdown of social cohesion and order if we allow this wide dichotomy to continue. So that's why I'm not as sharp with private schools as I used to be. But my belief that every school should be outstanding, every child should have the opportunity to become outstanding. But I will not, since most of you are not from that sector, I won't waste too much time on. It's not responding to my... It's epileptic. I have my own. I always come with everything. Joy did not exhibit its epilepsy when you were... It did before you came. So I was a magic touch that didn't let it... Okay, let me tell you a tale of two cities. Two schools. I went into, I was going around schools, and these are two public schools, and they happen to be located in Shomolu, Bariga, in the same compound. Two senior secondary schools. So they were taking children in junior secondary schools from the same demographic. That is the Bagada, not Bagada, Shomolu, Bariga axis. Their students all came from there. The school on my left, WAEC results had just come out, had 18% pass in WAEC. The school on my right had 89% pass. The same demographic. The children from similar backgrounds. What happened? What was the big difference? Joe, is this good enough for a PhD? It's a PhD. Maybe I'll become Dr. Adefisayo then. It was amazing. So what happened? Two schools, same demographic, same children coming from the same homes, but when they get to school, one will go left, one will go right, right? They even went to the same junior secondary school, the same public primary schools and low-cost primary schools. So what was the big difference? What do you think was the big difference? Pardon? Try. The same teachers, taking teachers from the same pool, from the Ministry of Education. Nobody knows them before they transfer them. So it wasn't as if it was favoritism that, look, post good teachers to this school. Thank you. Because all the teachers were graduates. Lagos State is always boasting that all teachers are graduates. Some have PhD even. Some have master's degrees. So they are well educated enough in our context. But the big difference was who was leading that school. That was the big, big difference. And I was amazed to learn. I'll go on with the story. I wanted to stop and continue. No. I was amazed to learn that the vice principal had been acting as principal for 2 years. The principal died. And he was acting. And he had done a lot of things. So I asked him, what did you do? Why did they have these results? Oh, past question papers, after school lessons, the teachers were supported. He had PTA supporting the teachers, to give them transport money home, things like that. They had a lot of quizzes, competitions, drills. They get to school early, maybe by 7, between 7 and 7:38. You try and do 100 sums, 100 English, you answer 100 questions in biology or whatever. Come to school early and all that. They had called the parents to a meeting and said, look, for this year, please don't give us these children. Don't let them go. Many of them work. They hawk, they are houseboys and housegirls, they sell things in the market, they help their mother after school. That please let this child for this year, let us all work together. And the parents, banded together. The little bit they had, they gave so that school was going smoothly. The other school, the principal was, turning up and was like, what are they doing? And what happened? These results came out. And when I asked her, what did you do to get 18%? At least you got 18. What did you do? She said the children are very bad. Their parents do not care. They do not come for meetings. They do not study. They do not do this and that. But the other school assumed that the students wanted to do well. So there was leadership. And there was that assumption and belief that every child deserves to do well. A chance. Give the child the option. Then it's up to the child. So that's the tale of two schools. And that's a big difference between schools as well. I want us to be clear on that. For you to know that what epilepsy. Can I use my own? It's in that pink. Okay, you want to change it for me? No, also, I'm still here. So I want to go on. Before I go on and go deep into the presentation, I wanted to say, we are talking about outstanding schools. We're not talking about WAECO. We're not talking about IGCSE. We are talking about an outstanding child who can go anywhere in the world and do well. What are the essential skills? I'm sure we've all seen this. Can you see this well? Or maybe we need to put out the lights. Can you see it well? Okay, play it. It's a video. There is no sound. The sound is not important. I got this from Lego, actually. Lego, the people who build bricks. Yeah. Because video. Just Lego. Thank you. Now, this is from Lego, so you can say it's not Nigerian. But I attended a session some time ago with MDs, with the HR directors of some big banks and multinationals. And they were asked, what do you look for in graduates who you are employing? They said, well, I don't really care much about the person's first degree. I don't really care much about that. At least that shows there's a certain minimum level of knowledge and intelligence and so on. What I look for is flexibility of mind, ability to get along with people, understanding of our culture, somebody who is open-minded, willing to learn, and who I can train and change. Are we all together on that? So it's clear that it's good to read whatever it is you want to study, whatever it is you want to study. But these skills are more important. And that's why I enjoyed our dear doctor's paper. You see, these are not skills that you don't need to have a lesson on. Today, it's time for creativity. No. They are skills, and therefore they should be taught in an integrated way across the curriculum. My main joy today, not using your name, that my main joy today is how people have started thinking different. Because for many years, I facilitated with the British Council, and what we were concerned with was how do we integrate these core skills that are essential for success in the future across every subject, whether you're teaching maths, or you are teaching English, or you are teaching biology, or you are teaching arts and crafts course. How do you integrate it such that the students engage in what we call deep learning? Deep learning, that is learning. What we have a lot of today is rote learning. But how do you ensure that you build in the skills unconsciously? You don't have to say, okay, today is time for integrity. Integrity cannot be taught like that. Integrity should be role modeled. It should be a culture of the school. It should be things that you have zero tolerance for. It should be the things that we all do in the school. I mean, these are things we are not going to allow people to do in our own community. It's like bringing up your children. Many years ago, I remember my children, and I remember this man, he died. He used to do this talk show. It became very salacious. I didn't like it. Initially, he was doing things like, conjoined twins, dysfunctional families, and so on. But all of a sudden, he went to all sorts of videos. And we held a meeting in the house and agreed that we are not going to watch it. Jerry Springer. We are not going to. No, in this house, we will not watch Jerry Springer anymore. So it's a question of, can you imagine if my child, when they've gone to bed, then I hurry up and go and watch Jerry Springer, and the child passes. Children can wake up at night, mommy, I'm feeling, and then she sees Jerry Springer. What do you think that child will feel? So the way you teach these things is your role modeling. They look at you, they look at your values, they understand who you are as a person. So also with integrating the core skills. Now going to the World Economic Forum, they had this. I'm sorry it's not coming out very well, but it's actually a graphic that shows what they think every child should be able to do, should know and be able to do by the time they leave the educational system. We have to build these skills in them. This is how they will succeed in the workplace. Many of our students, many of us think, Nigerian students when they go abroad, they are strong, they are resilient. But that's about it, that they can, like my daughter says, reading with issue, they can read for 11 hours. I remember one of my students, when he went to the UK for A-level. So he came home. So I said, come and see me. Came to see me. I said, what have we done well? You've been in class for like 2 terms now. What did we do well that affected you there? And what didn't we do well? He said, Mrs. Adefisayo, it's a difficult conversation, but I'll tell you. Because I knew he was a frank boy. And he said, well, at least you taught me to be strong. I can read for hours. I can study. I can, and when I got there, I could write 12-page essays. Everybody will be writing, I'll be shouting, paper, paper, paper. At the end, I will have a C, and the boy who sat beside me and wrote 2 pages will get an A. I said, what happened now? You are an A student, an A-star student. He had 7 A stars in IGCSE. That kind of outstanding student. He said, this is not IGCSE. So he went to the teacher to say, why am I not doing well? And the teacher said, I just give you C because it's long, and I know you put in a lot of effort. But really, it's not a good paper at all. So he showed him the other guy's paper. They were assessing a literature text. And he said, they told them to describe a particular person. And he said, of course, what did he do? He wrote the whole thing. The man was born, so he did this, he did that. The other guy said, Everything about the guy points out, to this gentleman points out that he's a straightforward, curt, short-tempered man. Just from the curt sentences with which he answers questions. So he said, where did they put curt sentences in the... So we haven't taught him to do what? The skill of critically thinking through, reading a text and not just reading it just to write the story in your own words, which is a good skill to be able to have, but to be able to critically analyze every character. What is this character about? Why does this person talk this way? What were the back influences that made this person who he is today? You know, these are some of the things that we have to start thinking about in the way we run our schools. So the foundational, you may say, now I want you to remember that many people, when this whole thing started many years ago, and I went with British Council around the world with a lot of people from ministry and so on. At the end they say, it looks good, but we can't do it here. I disagree totally, because they are not subjects. It's a way of life. It's the way you manage your class. Those essential 21st century skills, those competencies, those character qualities. Are you going to teach someone curiosity? How do you teach curiosity? You put them in situations where they have to be curious. And you ensure that you don't, if a child is curious, you know how we say, you know, allow the child to ask all the questions they want to ask. Allow the person to say whatever it is they want to say. And then you answer, you know. So you give them space. So the foundational literacies, this is from the World Economic Forum, like I said, literacy, numeracy, scientific literacy. You know, this is the curriculum, isn't it? This is what we are doing now. But some of it we are still not doing it well enough. Like when you get to financial literacy, we are not teaching our children how to manage their money. It's not part of our curriculum. I don't know how schools can do it. Well, I know how. But I think you should start thinking of how you are going to incorporate this kind of thing into school. And not make it a club activity for a select few, but something that every child has to learn. How do I manage my funds? Many of our students leave us and go abroad. They think mommy and daddy, no matter how rich mommy and daddy are, you can run out of the money they give you. I've seen students who I remember my son, I was angry with him one day. I said, I'm tired of you. You come back home, I'm tired of you. You are so, I don't even know, I was just tired of him. So his sister called me and said, how can you be tired of him? Do you know that some of his friends are in clubs where to be a member of that club, you must buy a $1,000 or $2,000 suit? I said, And their parents gave them too much money. That's why they're able to buy $2,000 suit. He's not going to buy a $2,000 suit from what I give him, because I don't even have $2,000 to give him. But all the same, the thing is that you can get there and they can do anything. And it's easy to suck them in because they want to belong. So many of us think, you know, so financial literacy, cultural, I don't know what's at the bottom, but culture, our culture, we all saw that. Our children don't understand our culture, cultural, you know. But the competencies, critical thinking, you know what they call the 4 C's, creativity, communication, collaboration. These are essential, because there's no way you will work in future that you will not use these. That you will not think critically, that you will not have to come up with creative solutions. The children are in a different world from where you and I, well, mine is quite far, yeah, but from where you are. They are going to live in a different environment. Why don't you prepare them for that different environment by ensuring that they can approach and manage complex situations? And of course, character. Character, as we know, are things that you role model and so, like, you know, when I went to Oshobo, one of the most interesting things that happened to me was when I said, we are going to choose prefects and we're going to make it democratic. We're going to vote. They are going to campaign. The teachers were very annoyed with me because they wanted to say, this boy is head boy. And the parents may have come and, you know, that I want my son to be head boy. So I said, no, they are going to campaign. And you know what we now do? So they had campaign posters. We didn't know there are some fantastic artists in school. So they were drawing, they were painting, they were doing all sorts of, putting it all over the school. They campaigned, you know, and then they gave their manifesto. And of course, you know, a lot of lessons learned. I remember one of them saying, if you vote me in, there will be no after school something or the other on a particular day. So when he came to us, I said, shame on you if you don't implement that. do you have the power? He said, in fact, Mrs. Adefisayo, when they were all shouting, I was so excited I had to. So that shows you, but lessons learned, isn't it? From that process, we even were able to bring out talents. Children we didn't know, who could sing, who could dance, who could write poems, who could write plays, who could do skits around all this. Children who could sew and make some really nice outfits for the, for the people campaigning. And then the head boy, in fact, I was transfixed when the boy came forward and said, my name is Mercury. What are the features of mercury, the chemical? And we all voted. Teachers, I didn't vote. Everybody voted. So, of course, they had to be nice to the cleaner, to the security guard, Abi, because the person is going to vote. So the whole school community voted. And in front of everybody, we counted everything. And, of course, Mercury won. He was this short. But he was strong. He was a very strong head boy. So, we built a lot of these in them without necessarily saying this is time to learn about democracy and about treating people well. And of course, it was a lesson, on making promises and so on. So I think that is clear. So I would like to ask you that for a school to do this, what features do you think we would see in the school? What do you think your school is doing? At the end, I'll ask you to self-reflect. I don't want to say it out. But what features, what do you think makes a school really outstanding in the context in which we are talking? That is global, building students who are globally competitive. What do you think? I'm going to ask you. Well, like the quintessential teacher said, talk to yourselves. My neighbor, I've left you now, so maybe you turn around and talk to the people behind you. So what makes a school outstanding in this context? Remember, don't look at the minuses. Just say, this is it. First of all, we'll come back to, is it possible? Is it feasible? Can we do it in Nigeria? But first of all, what is it? Okay, noise level going down. So I can see that which is good. That's what they call good noise, isn't it? Academic noise, school noise. I love school noise. It's essential. When you get to a class and it's utterly silent at times, it's the silence of the graveyard. Yes. I went to a class once, I saw the teacher was very strict. So all the students sat like this. So I was in front of my office, one boy passed and said, Mr. Adefisayo, teachers in this school are killing me. Well, you look alive. What happened? He said, I didn't understand a word of what you said, or what she said. But you sat there, you looked very... He said, you have to be careful with that woman. You can't get to her class and be looking, He didn't understand what she said from the beginning to the end, so I called her. She was teaching a very interesting concept, which I always tell the story of how I'm the daughter of a maths teacher. I hated maths in school. I was ready to fail it. In my days, you didn't need maths to go to university, so I was like, But my mother became my maths teacher. From those days, from 2 till I did school cert. I had no choice, though. So, but the way she taught it was so interesting. She would come to, when they say cylinder, she would bring cylinders, baby food, Fali's Ross, this, Also, so we knew what a cylinder was. I didn't like it, though. I'm telling you, as a child, I was embarrassed. Because the other teachers would only draw the cylinder. So I would sit at the back. Others are drawing. She's bringing. I wasn't happy because I thought, this is not good teaching. And she would ask her questions on your way to Ibadan, you branch at Ikorodu, how many hours did you spend? And that I didn't like it. I wanted her to say 2 plus this is this, and this is this, And, but eventually we all got to know it, and my class did very well. And up till today, still one of the best results the school has ever had. For all those years ago, where nearly half the class had grade 1, the remaining half, just about 5, had below grade 2. That's grade 3, and no failure. Nobody failed maths. The whole class. Yeah, so she taught us for like 5 years. So I went to this, so that was when I fell in love with maths. After I got used to her teaching, and I saw that, no, this makes sense. I'm a practical person. What is dy dx? What is it? It's just measuring, what is it? Any maths teacher in the house? Rate of change. And they will say dy dx, and I was so miserable in further maths class that what is dy dx, until my mother taught me that it's just the slope, and she would use things like ladders, and we'll be driving on the road, and she'll say, you see, we lived in Ibadan, you see the steep incline, you can see. That was all that made me know dy dx. So I went to the class, and this woman was teaching. And I remember that class that the boys spoke about. She was teaching simultaneous equations. 2x plus 3y plus 4z is equals what? So when she finished, I said, I called her, I said, how was that class? She said, they were very attentive. I said, oh yeah, I noticed that. They were. Did they learn? Yes, so she will soon give them a test, and they will pass. I knew they would pass because the fear of that woman was... So I said, but are you happy with their level of learning? Look, that concept could have been taught in a more interesting way. When you say export, these are variables, right? I said, look, you want to go to a school. Why should you choose this particular school and not that school? Is it the teachers? Is it the location? Is it because you want to go to boarding house? Is it because they are known for this? Those are the variables. Why don't you make it that interesting? If I were teaching older students, I'll say, oh, you want to marry a lady. Or a man, What are the variables? He has to be tall. He has to be dark, he has to be handsome, he has to be rich, he has to be this, she has to be slim, those are the variables. Just make it a fun thing and stop behaving as if it's 3x plus so. We are just saying these are the possible variables in a particular situation. Do you get me? And this is a school that was blistering with computers. So I called her, I said, Google it, how to teach simultaneous equations. There were so many ideas that she could have used. She could have played YouTube videos. She could have done anything. But she just wanted that 2x plus 3y. And of course, the poor children didn't know. So now you've done that. Thank you. So what did you talk about? One per table. And I know, there's something called round robin when you are brainstorming. You start getting nervous. They have said everything If you feel that pressure, say it again. Say it in your own words. I don't mind. So let me start from the back. The table of 4 at the back. Are they part of us? They are. Okay. So what were your own features of... this is off.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
I think the features of an outstanding school...
One.
Just one. Okay. Okay. Exposure to global standard of assessment.
Okay. In other words, they should be doing things like IGCSE and so on. What if they don't want to do it, or they cannot do it, or they cannot afford it?
thing they will be doing.
Might not be. It's just one of,
Yes.
and it's just, so when we pick everything, we can say some are more critical than others. Okay, next table. Thank you.
Okay. Features of an outstanding school. The school should teach leadership skills.
So deliberate and intentional teaching
Yes.
of leadership skills. How do you teach leadership skills?
You could, make the students to be part of maybe a program organized by the school and allow them to, plan the program themselves.
Organize, plan,
Yes,
execute.
exactly.
Just be a facilitator of the whole process.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much. So deliberately teaching them to be leaders. It doesn't have to be classroom teaching. It can be, okay. So a school really has to deliberately teach leadership. It must be intentional. It must be, just has to be an intentional program. It's like you as a parent at home. Don't teach your children to behave well. Teach your children to behave well. My daughter went to a school. Everybody bullied everybody. This girl, she was the only one. They invited me down to South Africa to meet me, to talk to me, to ask me why. Then they asked her, oh, why? Why didn't you bully that girl? She said, first, she didn't do anything to me. Secondly, you don't know my mother. Because I had one maxim. 50 children are somewhere. 49 are misbehaving. You better be the one who is doing what is right. Why should they influence you? Why can't you influence them? She has always lived with that. So when she's somewhere and everybody is keeping malice to someone, she will talk to that person. Because I'm like, what did she do to you? What is your own?
Okay, so we have an online response.
Oh, great. What's
Yes.
the person's response? Great.
Should I read only one feature?
Let's make it one so that people...
Okay. They've mentioned innovative curriculum.
Okay, that's all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's from Mary online.
Okay. I think that's a great one too, because and it ties in with what you said about the exposure to global standards and measure and innovative curriculum. I don't believe that you have to necessarily follow any particular. I'm one of those radical people who don't believe in any of these curricula. I don't. But I believe you can take the best of everything that you have and stop behaving as if I'm fixated. When you get to school, we are doing the American curriculum. What is so called? Next table. Next table.
We believe in adaptive change. That is, be able to follow up and accept change, being open-minded.
Belief in change, okay?
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's interesting. Yeah? Yeah, go on. Please, per table, please, yeah.
Okay, you are together. Sorry. Okay, sure.
Oh, you are together. Oh, okay.
Apart from adapting, acceptance as well. Accepting the global change in curriculum and being fluid, not just boxing the school, because some schools leadership just believe let's just do it the same way, this is the standard and this is how we need to do. Okay. So I think that's another thing.
Accepting that life has changed and that the children have to be flexible and adapt to whatever situation they find themselves in. So, the three ladies. Oh, the four.
So we believe in teaching the children virtues, values, honesty, integrity.
Intentionally again?
Yes, intentionally.
How?
We leave it out every month. We pick a particular virtue that we leave out. So we'll give talks at the assembly. For example,
who gives the talk?
The children.
Fantastic.
Yes. We also collaborate with the parents, so they also leave out the virtue even at home.
Okay.
Yes.
So working with the parents, collaborating with parents,
yes.
You yourselves are living the 21st century skills as well, because you have to collaborate. It's part of it. Thank you. I don't have a slide for all this. I'm writing it down. So I think all of us should I'll try and go over it, though I won't screen it. My handwriting is not that. So let me have this table.
Okay, we talked about conscious empathy from the leader, from the up down, in the sense that you show empathy to people that you're working with, and the teacher, in this case, the teachers and the non-academic staff, and they show the children the same thing. So it's in a circle, it goes round. They're able to
role
understand.
modeling, really, the virtues.
Yes,
that you
role
believe in.
modeling. Then also recognition, as in everybody, involve everybody, stakeholders, non-academic staff, teaching staff in everything you do. More like giving rewards.
Celebrate.
Yeah, celebrate, yes, everybody, holistically.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I remember giving a boy character badge because of what he did. And there was a child who was going into an epileptic fit. Everybody ran away. You know, it's a difficult sight to see. But he picked up this boy, carried him to the sick bay, put him on his back and carried him to the sick bay. So we gave him this character pin. We had a character pin. I only gave 3 or 4 out. In fact, after that, somebody came, said, I saw 1,000 naira on the floor. Am I getting a character pin? So, because what you celebrate will excite the student. It says a lot more than any talk. Thank you. Final table. You are together. Oh, great. Oh, great. Okay, so thank you. We said a lot.
Online, ma'am.
Oh, great. Online.
So somebody said something about another person had mentioned global perspectives. So somebody from online, Adejoke Adoye, she says, please, who sets the world standard?
Very good
and
question.
what exactly is global standard in education where so many things separate us? Culture, infrastructure, uncertainties, poverty, governance, and so many. At this summit, we can really look inward at ourselves as a nation to look for what works best for us and will really help the least favored Nigerian child.
Can we give her a round of applause? That can it be relevant to our circumstances? Relevant, you know. Look, relevant to our circumstances and not try and copy and paste, because whatever that is, like when you take people to Finland, you know what they always say in Finland is, this is because we are Finnish. This is because we are who we are. So you be who you are. I think it's up to us to design what is most appropriate for us, what is culturally relevant for us, you know. And this is something we all have to think through. I think that's a great question, one of the greatest questions I've come across in a long while. It shows the person was really thinking that. What are we all saying? We are Nigerians now. It brings me to my next issue. Is this possible here? You know, I didn't say anything. I'm still going to give you points on how we can build that kind of school. But first of all, is it possible here? Is it you know, when you say what are global standards, there are certain things, behavior, when you say integrity, I mean, there is no gray area, is there? When you say something is wrong, something is wrong or it's right. Yeah, if a lie is a lie, the truth is the truth, you know. So some things are universal principles of integrity, of doing what is right, and so on. And when we talk about the critical skills, you remember the critical skills, it's just being realistic that the work environment is going to be totally different in future. They're going to have to collaborate. They're going to have to come up with creative solutions. They're going to have to be critical thinkers and problem solvers. They're really going to have great communication skills. When we were growing up, do you answer your teacher? What do you even say in class? I'm sure that I used to sit in a corner like that. The window beside me was permanently open because I liked netball. And it was the first person to get to the netball court was the person who, you know, it was in order of how you came. So when the bell rang, I just jumped out through the window and ran off. But, you know, the doors were here. So I sat in that corner. Yes, you don't say anything. I never said anything. I never said, what am I? I never asked the teacher any question. Why? So that they will tell my mother that she's too forward. She doesn't mind her business. So you just sit in a corner and you mind your business. You understand me? So that was how we were. But they are not good. You can't succeed in the workplace of today if you're someone who has that kind of mindset, can you? So deliberately and intentionally, we have to understand that some of these things are universal. And then we now put in what is culturally relevant. Culturally relevant. A Nigerian child must learn certain things. You know, my sister is left-handed. And my father used to follow her from class to class. Use your left hand. Don't change. To tell the teacher, if you change it, my parents are both educationists, so they knew. But they taught my sister, that when you are giving people change and so on, because it's something that is culturally very difficult for most of us to accept, give it with your. They taught her that. And it doesn't take anything out of it. It doesn't mean, it's just that in the old days, people, the left hand was used for things that were not very clean. So they would wonder, I'm selling something and she gave me change with her left hand. And you wonder, it's a Nigerian way, isn't it? It's our way, and we don't need to be apologetic about it. Well, I'm not. So, we've said a lot of things, isn't it? I hope you've noted them. There are a lot more that we can say. But there's one thing that permeates everything that we've said, and that's the culture of the school, isn't it? But we didn't say one other thing. You see, I didn't put anything. Remember the story again of the... No. The two, oh my goodness. This thing is... Yeah, I'm trying to go back. Okay, back. Okay, now it's going back. Remember the tale of two schools. Mm-hmm. What was the big difference? It was the leadership. The leadership of that school, the person, that person. And for someone who has worked in chains of schools, I've seen that when you change the school leader, it's amazing how the school changes. Just one person. In a community of 500, and everything changes. The culture, everything. I remember they changed my daughter's head teacher once. She was in primary school. Every time she jumped into the car, she would say, "Mommy, guess what happened today? What happened? So. Every day, something new. Every day, the school changed. Even little things like painting the flower vases. She said she painted all the flower vases today. I said, really? The next day she'll come in again, "Mommy, hey, you don't know." Eventually I had to come down and meet this woman. So, who is this paragon of... and she's very beautiful. I said, really? More beautiful than you. I'll take that. I'll take that. You know, so you can imagine the power of the leader. I told you that the vice principal had been running the school for 2 years, right? When the principal died. And they did something so crazy, sorry to use that word, they posted somebody to the school as principal, above that vice principal. So when I came in, I said, "Principal," because he was the first person I asked, and he said, "Well, I just started 2 weeks ago." So who's been here? Nobody for 2 years, but the VP was running the school. So VP, tell me what you did. So he was the one who now told me. So I said, this you can't do this. This guy has to go. This new guy, take him to another place. This man must become the principal of this school. And he became the principal of the school. And continued. You see, when you work with public schools sometimes, and that's why I made my experience a bit different now. When you see these things, you know, like I said, all children are the same, right? They all want to do well. In his school, he called me when JAMB came out. You know, he told me, he said, one of my students had 352 in JAMB. I didn't even know such results existed. But remember, there was this controversy with that girl. But he had 352. So I went down to the school to visit the boy, meet the boy. His father was a daily paid laborer who every morning, you know, those people carry bags with their hammer and so on and go and sit on the road waiting for construction companies to call them. And this was his first child. And that boy had 98 in chemistry and so on and so forth. So I stood there. I said, so out of this place, this boy has come out. But he didn't come out because he was that good. He's good, yeah. But who helped him? How did he get there? The teachers. Who taught? Was anybody born knowing chemistry? Somebody had to teach him, and the teacher taught him, and it was a fantastic teacher who taught him, and the principal, the leader of the school. So this is a keynote. I'm not supposed to talk in depth, so I won't. So I will talk about the four factors that I always look at in any school. You see, an exceptional leader will build an exceptional culture. A culture of high expectations, where you expect every child to do well. A culture where you role model, and you know, many of the things that we said were cultural. I hope you know. The culture of the school. What's the atmosphere? What's the ethos of? When you get into the school, what kind of spirit do you feel? What do you feel? Happy children, happy teachers, good atmosphere. Parents, you see them around, maybe parents open day, and you see happy people who are collaborating and working together, excited about the children's learning. So exceptional leaders build an exceptional culture. We're not going to go into details. I'm sure you've had a lot of papers, and you don't need my own paper to tell you this. You know? That exceptional culture will lead to exceptional teaching, because teachers must be allowed to be able to do some things. You know, we stifle teachers too much, too much, so that at the end of the day, they are not able to blow. And I like it when teachers blow. You should be strong enough. You know, I met an MD of a multinational some years ago, and I went to his office. I have very fine cars in your car park. He said, oh yeah, look at me, I'm fine. I drive a nice car. All my staff should be fine and drive nice cars. We shouldn't be afraid that they will overcome. I'm not afraid of anybody becoming better than me, not at all. And that is why many leaders stifle them. I will tell you the story of a young lady, teach for Nigeria. She went to teach in a public school, and she had to set exams. And they used to set the exams by writing the exams on the board. So this girl printed it out, got a computer, printed the questions, gave every child a question. They almost killed her. We don't do that here. She is just showing off. She wants everybody to know her. So I think it's time for leaders to be very happy when the people who work with you are better than you. Because that means you too will move on to another place which is even higher. Because if you stay there, stifle them, you too remain stifled. So there's a lot about us I can see. Exceptional leadership, exceptional culture, leads to exceptional teaching. And of course, what do you have? So that's what I have for you that I hope you've done throughout the core of this program. I won't go into details, except that I enjoyed the school leader. Very different kind of school. You are in fantastic schools, everything is fine, right? She is the principal of an awful school in the US. But she had 3 mantras. I told you my own personal mantra, one of them. Abi, 50 children are somewhere. 49 are misbehaving. You better be the one that is behaving. If you are my child, you better be. So that's one of them. But it's not, and I'm not a dictator. And also, you know, I've told you some things like, oh, this is what we agree in our house and so on. But it's great when you have a mantra, especially as a head of school, because they find you a funny person. But let me tell you, they listen to you. They listen to you. I remember one of my students calling me, Mr. Adefisayo, Canada. He said, do you know that I won a prize? I said, well, what? Neatest boy in the school. Huh? Are you the only one in the school? He said, no. Oh, Mrs. Adefisayo now. He said, it's because whenever I get up, I remember Mrs. Adefisayo is in the boys' hostel. I said, well, I couldn't have flown from here to Canada, but I'm glad that you still hear my voice and make your bed. You know, so they still listen to you. But listen, I love her mantras. Let's listen to her mantras. Volume. This is a TED Talk. It's quite old now. I wondered whether I should play it or not, because it's quite old now. And her accent is strong, but listen. Strong Philadelphia. There's volume. Why did you play it on my computer? When it was playing on my computer, it was working well. Oh, okay, 2015, 8 years ago. But still relevant, right?
As a principal.
Please remind.
My first day in the school district of Philadelphia.
I want you to note our 3 mantras, and we'll wrap up with the 3 mantras. Can I say? How did you feel? Is it just for children living in poverty? No. Every child deserves. And don't forget that even the children from rich homes are also suffering. They suffer a lot. It's a lot of deprivation, emotional deprivation, substituting things for love, buying the latest phone, the latest iPad without care in the home. And some are in despair, and that's why we have a lot of social problems among them as well. And so for all of us, I hope, like I said, it's just a keynote, so I'm not going to go in. You had your teachers who went in depth. But just to excite us, just to talk to us, just to touch us all with the fact that this our job is wonderful. It's a privilege indeed. Wherever you are, whether you are working with children, whichever demographic you are working with, it's a privilege, it's a joy, it's something that you must not take for granted. And I hope that by the end of this whole this conference, all of us will see that we really, it's the onus is on us. It's our duty to ensure that every child who leaves us is the better for it. That they go out into the world with the skills that they need to be successful. We don't need to start, you don't need anybody, you are teachers, you are principals, you are school heads. You don't need anybody don't listen to the voices that tell you, is it not Niger? So good things can come out of here. They can, and they do, and they should, and they can, and we can do it, isn't it? So I think I was going to ask you to reflect, but I think that was reflective enough. It always makes me cry, actually, especially when she starts crying. I always tear up. Yeah, I do. I had to control myself. I was telling her, control yourself. This was a long time ago, but it's still true today. And so I thank you, Boston, for inviting. I've known him for many, many years, and I've known this. There are some you did in Unilag, right? I've been part of it too for many years, and I thank you for inviting me again, as always. So let me go to my Adire glitter party while you sit down and learn.
A beautiful round of applause to our mama, Mrs. Folasade Adefisayo. Okay, I always say that and wonder why teachers are not content creators. You know why? Anytime an educator opens his or her mouth, you're going to get content. And we have so much inside of us that I begin to wonder. I picked some catchy phrases which I've noted down. Exceptional leadership. The next one, who can help? Exceptional culture. Exceptional teaching. Give yourselves a round of applause. Whoa. I'm using that. Copyright respected. And I like what she talked about when she went to Finland. I am who I am. Be who you are. We are who we are. And the fact that we are culturally minded and our minds are sharp to pick what is best for our own children, we can never lag behind. So one more time, I want to say thank you to Mrs. Folasade Adefisayo for your insightful presentation. And I'm going to go and watch the video all over again, The Excellent Teacher by Linda Chatz-Wayman. I think that was very inspiring. It's actually time for our tea break, but before we do that, we want to present to guess who? Okay, Mrs. Dayo Adesoya, please can you step up stage? We have a little presentation to do to our wonderful facilitator, educator. She has all the degrees in the world. I've read it earlier. And so it's time for us to do a presentation to her. We want to recognize her for everything she's been doing. I've been following her online. She doesn't know. Checking all her pages. I went all the way down to present to her. So this moment, we want to welcome the beautiful Dr. Joy Isa. Okay, so you stay here and you present to her. On behalf of the Thesis Education Group, we want to present to you this beautiful recognition for everything you've done, you are doing, and you will do in the educational sector, not just in Nigeria, but she's still doing, yes. everywhere. We do appreciate you. Thank you so much. God bless you. Content. Content. All right, so I think right now we can go for our tea break. We just need to step outside. Oh, we need to hold on a bit. Okay, so I have an urge to also call Mrs. Omotosho to step on stage for a presentation to our very own mother in education. Yes, we can call her mother in education in Nigeria. For you to be on the seat of an educational body and of a state, Lagos State, in Nigeria, in 2020, please clap. Mrs. Folasade Adefisayo. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for your patience. I think we can step out now, just outside the door. Oh, we should wait? Okay.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, just before we go for tea break, I thought initially I would be able to keep mommy here for a couple of hours, because apart from the fact that she's giving us a keynote and speaking, I told her that, okay, so when her name came out for nomination as Commissioner for Education for second term, so I asked our social media team to prepare, what do we call it, a banner to celebrate. I mean, these are just a few minutes, don't go yet. So let's sit down for this. This is a special award for everybody coming. So we prepared a banner for the Minister for Education and her as Commissioner for Education. So the lady told me, also, Mr. Boson, we are posting today. I said, the minister has been sworn in. Please post the banner. Mommy has not been sworn in yet. Let's wait until the day of the swearing in. So I'm sure mommy doesn't want me to talk about the political blah, 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 blah. So I will talk about all of that. But, so like she said, my first program ever in the sector was in 2010. March 10. Afe Babalola or Unilag. I was working with SMI. So, but I've seen mommy, she comes around for our program. And I love this woman. Okay, so I wrote her a letter and inviting her for high school enterprise conference. Remember, ma? Afe Babalola. And she came. I wasn't expecting it because I was like, all these big people. She doesn't even know me. Apparently, you called Pastor Adele to confirm who this was and all of that. But since 2010 till now, mommy has always been part of our program. Every now and then. Whether the room is full, is half full or anything. I said, but Suma worry. Just go ahead and you remember on Thursday she was saying, when we started, it wasn't this very techy and whatever, but we are progressing and all of that. And those level of encouragement has really pushed us so far. We've worked with state government, even in our own little way, you understand. We've done a whole lot, even outside of here. Let me break this news, mommy. So in September, I got the opportunity to sit on the board of a school in the UK. Yeah. And a whole lot of other things we don't want to talk about. So, like I mentioned to her, some of us followed our work as Commissioner for Education between 2019 and 2023, and the progress she made. Would have loved that it continues, but it's not continuing. I won't talk politics. I'm really, really restraining myself. Mommy doesn't want me to talk about it. But I said something in 2010. She was seated on the stage at Afebabalola. I said, me, I don't see you as leader for just the Nigerian education system. I see you as an educational leader in Africa, right? Then she was CEO at Corona. We didn't even know commissioner would be coming. And she said she's leader and board member in Nigeria. She sits on the board of African Leadership Academy in South Africa. Abima. Yeah. I'm sure most of you don't know, right? The journey is Africa and the world entirely. So what we chose to do today is to, apart from honoring her as our facilitator, also recognize the work she has done in the education sector in Lagos State. Most of us, when we have people doing great things, we really don't appreciate ourselves enough. We don't call into remembrance some of the things people have done. We overlook it and think it is normal. It is not normal. That's right. Yeah. To get someone to sit in that office is not normal. Yeah. I'm also a politician, so I know. And to get people to sit in that office is tough. To spend 4 years to record that level of success and all of that. So we have this special gift, very small one. That's my brother that sat at the back. He's the one that went to go and harass the people. They did one small mistake on it. I said, go and sit on their neck. This thing must get here before mommy comes in. And I'm glad this is here. So, mommy, this is not from Bosun. This is from your sons and daughters that you know together. YPP, Incubator Africa, some of them are online. So, for you, man.
Thank you very much. I am short of words, which I rarely am, but I am at this moment because when all the brouhaha happened in August, September, I was so disturbed because I'm a very reserved person. I don't like people talking about me. I don't like my name being bandied around, so it was quite painful, that. But when it was all over, I knew that it's for a reason, and the reason is coming clearer and clearer every day. Like Fashola said, I don't need a title to make a difference. I remain an education activist. Nothing is going to change that. I will say the things I need to say. I'm still going to serve on all the boards I used to be on. They've started calling me back because I resigned from every school board I was on. I'm back again. I'm back in all the organizations I was a member of because I missed it in some ways, you know. So I'm glad to be back, and thank you for this.
Okay, so indulge me for 2 minutes, please. 2 minutes. I'm sure mommy too is in a rush. Yinka, please come. Yinka is my brother. And I want him to take 2-3 minutes to talk about the solution he has. Please, 2-3 minutes, then we go for break. You understand?